everyone. Have a great Saturday. Today we got another collaboration podcast, episode 6, and today we will be talking on the theme NFTs, GameFi, and the current trends in these. So guys, again, it is a free talk discussion over crypto, general with the community, without any promotional aspect, no giveaway, just fully focus on the team. So just join us, listen, and if anything, add on the ideas and your opinions. Just tag me in the discussion. So at first, I would love to introduce the guest list. So today, we got with us House of the Dragon and Kajan from the team. We got a RetroDoge and also Phoenix Blockchain. So guys, at first, I want to leave you a space for a little brief introduction. Maybe you could drop like your role in the project and really just a brief information on like what's the project and what you are building. So we will start with Quinn. Quinn, just start up and really just a brief introduction.
Thank you for that. Yeah, my name is Quinn, aka Secret Agent Q. I am CEO co-founder to RetroDoge. We are a GameFi with NFT. Sorry guys, still very early morning. Yeah, GameFi project on BSC with our gaming development.
Yeah, I think that was long enough. So maybe Spas, like Spas is with us for a few of the podcasts. So just really only a brief again. So just the new listeners from other communities know like what you're doing and where you're coming from, right?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Spazatron McGee. I'm the coordinator for Phoenix Blockchain. It's a new blockchain. We got a lot of stuff in the works. NFT marketplace. Our DEX is live. We're just chugging along here until we get to that next bull run.
Great, awesome. And now, Kajan from the House of the Dragon. I love to see you here. Drop your word on the project and yourself.
Hi, everybody. Awesome to be here. Thanks, Ellen. Great opportunity to speak inside what is this crypto podcast, and the first time I've been able to be in what I would call like a podcast format. So I'm really excited to see what conversations we can get. My name's Kjam. I'm the owner and founder of, co-founder of House of Dragon. House of Dragon token is a prequel to the Games of Thrones, which is coming to HBO on the 21st of August. So that's just next week. And it's a legacy hype token that's going to ride the hype of the HBO TV show. And what we're going to do is going to bring some utility into that project. And we're going to be bringing in NFTs, play to earns, and other similar things in which we're going to have conversations about today.
Great. Well, we touched the NFTs. So guys, maybe it's the time for the introduction, and especially like I've picked only the projects that are in touch with the NFTs and also with the GameFi space. So again, Quinn, could you drop a word like which kind of NFTs you're working on, and just a brief introduction on that. We will then move toward another themes under this whole topic. So drop a word on your NFTs.
All right, for us, we've chosen both the classic NFT types. So we're going to be building a collection of your standard profile picture NFTs as part of the club that we'll be building on top of the token. But we are also going to be developing and releasing a collection of gaming utility style NFTs designed specifically to be cheaper and more user friendly with the game that we're building.
Great, thank you. Spas, you were talking about the NFT marketplace, so I guess it will be on a Phoenix blockchain, right? And drop a word on those NFTs, like just a bit.
Well, yeah. So, as a lot of people know, the whole thing that skeptics will say is that when you're buying an NFT, you're really just buying a link to an image that's hosted elsewhere. What we're doing differently is that our images are going to be stored on the servers that do the processes and all the back end stuff of the blockchain. So it's not going to be like you're owning a link to pinata.com or whatever the heck. You're going to be owning the image that is stored on the servers that are the blockchain itself. It's a little bit different way of doing it to add a little more security. Now, as far as NFTs as a whole go, I think with rare exceptions, I think you're going to see NFTs as a utility as opposed to just like as an art thing. I mean, you're gonna. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you get another, Basie every like year or two. But I think generally utility is where it's at in gaming, stuff like that.
Great. I mean, Gajan, you're preparing the NFT series, right? For the Hot D. So again, just briefly introduce the NFTs of yours and what you're planning.
Sure, Ellen. Yeah, that's really exciting to hear what everyone said there. So what's a great thing in this space right now is the power of what you can do with the NFTs and what they mean to different people. And what we're able to do here when we're harnessing the power of HBO and what they're going to do with their TV series is we can really monopolize on that and create something that is current and moving at the same time as the show. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create the main 9 characters as NFTs. And those main 9 characters are released right now by HBO, and you can see them. And everyone will be able to understand what those characters are and how the show unfolds and what their role is within the narrative. And so we're going to be able to give that to the people early on. And then what's going to be really good, Ellen, is that as this show develops over the 10 weeks, what we're going to be able to do is to utilize that and to be able to incorporate into the NFTs additional cast and also cast members that become more popular or famed with the viewers. And it might even be an animal, or it might be some form of abstract format in terms that we can then move that into an NFT. So we could really watch what's happening, be dynamic, and capitalize on what's interesting and what the viewer really like, and put that into an NFT format. And just like what McGree was saying, I think the NFT can be a visual format. It can be like, look at that artwork, I like this, but it can also be a utility. And for us, it's definitely going to be utility because we're going to be adding APY to it. They're going to be stakeable. So what we're going to be able to do through that is not only give a visual representation to the show, to what people like and what they're interested in, and create that hype, but we're also going to be able to give them a DeFi yield and a passive income. And so there's a good example of the NFT art being merged with crypto utility to then give an end result, which is that passive income, money up concept for the individual.
Good.
If I can hop in for a second, I love that you're doing it before the show comes out and getting ahead of anyone that might be doing similar thing. I think that's pretty smart. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're seeing the wave coming. We've grabbed our surfboards and we're jumping in the water and we're getting ready to sort of harness, because that's a power, like McGee, like we always say, there's probably billions, right? Billions of US dollars going into marketing power there. So we can tap a small percentage of that and ride it into the blockchain as far as we can go, because we've all seen those trends, that come over from the real world into the blockchain. Sometimes they happen overnight if there's something like radical that happens in the world, but sometimes they take a little bit of time just to pass over because of cultural change, whether it be film, TV show, music, stuff like that. So yeah, we've definitely been looking as a tactic to time this before the show airs.
Yeah, and as we are talking about it, it is essential to really mention network. And I would love to ask guys, what network you think is the most suitable for the NFTs? And if you are talking GameFi, then GameFi space. And also you could add and mention which network did you've chosen and why. So Quinn, could you drop your bits on this?
Yeah. So choosing your blockchain to launch your NFTs on, that for a project should be a very delicate, well thought out task indeed. For the blockchain choice that you're making, you're choosing the underlying security and the ecosystem behind it to maintain your project's safety and performance. So for us, as I said before, we chose Binance Smart Chain to launch our project on, and that is most likely the blockchain that we'll be choosing to host our NFTs collections on as well. Mainly because it's one of the bigger ones out there. It may not have the best reputation from the last bull run, but the proof is in time for us in regards to how secure the underlying ecosystem itself is in regards to individual security and safety. If people haven't seen, you've had like issues on other blockchains, like Solana in particular at the moment. They've had a really nasty hack where 8,000 users' wallets were drained. I haven't even read the news regarding what happened there, but I think making sure that your project is backed by a secure blockchain is probably a very important factor indeed when you're choosing one to launch NFTs from.
Right, and like, which one did you choose, like personally for the game, and maybe also a reason, since we will discuss on that like later.
Yeah, as I said, I believe our choice is going to be Binance Smart Chain all the way. We might launch additional stuff on other blockchains in the future, but for us, we think Binance is where we should be.
Yeah, and like, is that due to security or like that community
Yes.
in here? Right.
It's largely security. It's also a bigger blockchain in terms of the user base, and I think in the next bull run, Binance will it should have in themselves a redemptive factor. I see a lot of moves in the background to try and shake off the existing reputation that this infrastructure has. And if they pull it off, we might see users from Ethereum starting to make their way across into lower gas blockchains as well.
Right. And I love the fact that you were mentioning the Solana, because as we are doing NFT as well, we were choosing to like either Ethereum or the Solana or the Polygon. But to be honest, like for the game, especially, you need all of the transactions behind, and the gas is kind of killing the vibe, right? So yeah, I completely got your point. So maybe Spas, could you introduce like how the NFT is gonna be covered on the Phoenix?
I was hoping I had a second to weigh in here. So the way it works with Phoenix, again, Fire C is coming out, going to be coming out around, it's on the way, it's in the works. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to we have a locked one-way gas fee without sacrificing speed or security. I mean, Solana has gone down like 6 times this year, or 6 times in the last 12 months. We have had 0 downtime in the last 12 months. We're really trying to, take the best bits, right? It's an EVM chain, so we've got that. So you can use your address from Ethereum. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We want to solve all these problems that projects like our guests here today have mentioned. It's been a lot of work, but we're making it happen.
Right, it's amazing. And regarding to fees, like, could you maybe compare to either like Ethereum or the BSC?
Oh yeah. So we, as a test, we launched. I think it was one token, just a test token, and made it like 1,000 NFTs, and it cost. I want to say 1/2 of 1 cent USD.
Great, and like if there will be bigger user base, is that gonna change, or like you got the capacity to balance everything?
Nope, because again, that was our big thing, was to have it be as close to free as possible, and we want people. We don't want the blockchain to be the limiting factor. If somebody wants to make a project with a, say you want to make like a card game, right? You need to be able to pump out, tens of thousands of NFTs. We don't want the blockchain to be something that limits your creativity and your ambitions, right? We want we want to be the blockchain that you don't even notice is there. It's that quick and that cheap. That's our goal.
Great, thank you. Kajan, could you again drop a word on what blockchain are you choosing or considering for the NFT series or collection, and also why?
Sure. Yeah, it's been great listening to what everyone's been saying here, and I've been making notes, and I think that's the important thing from these conversations, right? Well, we've launched on Binance Smart Chain, and as a team and as an individual myself, it's a blockchain that I generally use. And I think it's interesting, right? In the future, we might look back at blockchains a little bit like we do social media, whereby people get on one and it's quite hard to get them off onto another one. They just kind of stay on it. And I think for myself, I've been like that. I think, a lot of people are like that. Like, why are you on the Binance Smart Chain fundamentally comes down to some big questions as to why haven't you moved off it? And stuff like that. So we're on that Binance Smart Chain. We like it. I like what Quinn was saying, that it's got a bad rep. It has got a bad rep. It's kind of cool as well. But I also think there's a lot of scope and opportunity for it to get better in the future. It's one of the biggest, again, is what I heard people say. It's got huge numbers, and of course the price. That's what a great thing is too. So launching projects and being on that blockchain comes with that type of investment, and that's one thing that you can struggle with as a project, and even the socials that follow that, like what's the best kind of socials to be on. But when it comes down to where we've launched the project, we're going to stick to the Binance Smart Chain for the first round of the NFTs. And then what we'll be able to do there is to expand, because going cross-chain with NFTs, right, or opening up a marketplace that can move cross-chain, it's you can do that in this space right now. It's possible to move down that road. So where we could go with them, what we could do in terms of allowing other people to purchase them with different types of currencies is totally optional. But yeah, I think when you're launching a token, you're generally going to stick to the same platform you're on. That's what we've done. Our investors are familiar with the Binance Smart Chain. They're going to be purchasing them with BNB. They're already buying our token with BNB, and we're going to keep it like that.
Great. Guys, let's now try to talk about minting, right? So either do you prefer to mint your own NFTs on your own dApp, or rather cooperating with some sort of a marketplace? So Quinn, are you partnered with some marketplaces, or you are minting them, or if they are not safe, or you will be minting them on your own either marketplace or dApp?
Yeah, that's the big question for some projects. It's whether or not you want to go that extra step and make it personal with creating your own dApp versus partnering up with someone to essentially mint them for you. We've chosen a bit of a middle ground at the moment in regards to how we're going to execute our NFTs. We have potentially the web development capacity to build our own dApps and launch our own minting fronts to do that. But I also have partners with SafeSwap in particular that if push comes to shove and we don't have the necessary skills to finish it off, we can rely on them to assist us in having a minting front available for use from their side as well. It's it's something we've yet to make our final decision on. We can see the benefits of having a partner handle it, as they will obviously have more experience with it. They'll have a more uniform front. They know that their dApps will work. But like I said, it's going back to the whether or not we want to make it personal and make it 100% ours as well. For marketplaces, we're also considering the idea of launching our own small marketplace to host our NFTs on, which goes into greater plans in the ecosystem versus hosting them initially on our partners marketplaces. It all comes down to funding as well. For us, we don't have a lot thanks to the obviously the bear market conditions we've had over the last several months. So for us, it'll be more along the lines of weighing up costs versus security versus uniqueness in delivery.
Right. And before I will continue, I will drop a word on our story. Well, we were considering as well, like either making our own debt, and so why we were considering this is because you can basically stick to the format you want. So you can have like a total mints, the rest of the mints, like the total number minted or not, and the price, everything simply you wanna have on your website will be there. But what's the cons is that if you are partnering with marketplace, usually they will help to push and stick you to their community, right? But that's a problem. I think the best way probably is to have both of the options and look around for multiple parties to help you get listed, help you to get with the community around. So this is the point for the spas. How is that in the Phoenix? Like if I would love to list the NFTs of ours, for example, and that is quite possible to have some co-op in the future. What will be the format? Like for example, in Gallery.io, this is like a tier 2, tier 1 marketplace on the BSC. A lot of big games like AOG or Myteria using it. So basically, there is just sell option, buy option. You can list them, but you never see like the total mints. You can only see basically the volume and the owners. So what will be the format of the Phoenix class?
Well, so yeah, now we're going to have like a featured section. So like when you go to fireseed.org and you hit enter, there's gonna be featured people that that we know, we trust. I mean, it's always do your own research, but like if anyone wants to go there and just kind of launch something, they're welcome to do it. However, people that have been with us for a long time, that we've seen their work, we know that they're not gonna rug or do anything foolish. Then they can get featured. We're also working on a similar thing for our swap, where if we knew you in the past, or if you're willing to do a video chat with us, just something like that, so we can tell it's like you're a real person, you're not some android somewhere. Stuff like that. And now some people have opted, because FireSea isn't live yet. People that have launched projects, they have asked us to just make a DApp for them. We do that, no problem. If they don't want to wait for FireSea, and we just kind of throw a DApp together for them so they can start minting. But yeah, so it's a similar situation.
Right, cool. KJM, like you will be having your own DApp, or you are looking for a marketplace to sell?
Yeah, sure. So what we're doing is the initial is we're going to have our own minting DApp, and that's something that's just come about from the beginning anyway. Generally, as we're discussing with the NFT artists, so we're looking to collaborate. One thing you get presented is ability, cost, and generally then that starts to include this service of a minting website or a DApp that you can use. And what I like about that, and it was discussed in here, is you can create the aesthetic, right? You can build it all as one. You can have it all as a control there and all lay it out, just like you were explaining to Ellen. So there's a lot of like control there, and you keep it in-house, and I quite like that. And I've seen that before in other projects, had experience with that. So for the first part, we're going to be creating our own minting DApp. And what's great there is it allows us, I guess, to test the water, to be able to see what works, what kind of feedback we get from it. And of course, we can then push it to our own audience, so we can keep it all in-house and we can look there. But we have had conversations about marketplaces. And I think as you expand, that's where you would end up going. There, you're going to get a bigger audience. There, you're going to attract more. You can you can increase the capability of what you can do with your NFTs through that way. And I think that's the end goal, really, if you're developing and you keep moving. And if we're going to be able to produce multiple NFT sets as this TV series evolves, as different characters come out through the narrative of the show, I think there's only room for us to expand from our own minting dApp to another marketplace. So that then opens up nice partnerships, opens up some bullish information for the investor, and expands their knowledge too out from maybe what they're used to into something different. So I think, yeah, creating a minting dApp from the beginning is what we've been discussing when it comes to working with individuals. And it's something that we want to be able to internally control it. But the bigger picture here always, I think, is expansion. So marketplaces will be where it's at.
If I can just follow up on that,
Mhm.
I completely agree with what you were saying with the dApp. Like, it just looks nicer, right? You made it for your branding. You're not ciphering and filtering through all the seeing crap in the margins that you don't want to see. It's right there, and the branding's all tight. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, and then, you know, even though, let's say you have your NFT artist, X developer created this minting dApp, it looks all in-house, doesn't it? It looks a part of the project. It's all rounded off together. It's another extension of it. The investor looks at that, they think, this is great, the aesthetic matches. And yeah, you have that in-house ability to pull off that. So yeah, it is a good visual. I say I've seen it in other projects. We're not at the stage yet to be there with this project, but I have seen it in other projects. And I remember as an investor looking at that, I was impressed. I was impressed from going from the project itself over to a minting dApp and then seeing what that had in there. And I was like, wow, this all ties up really nice. So it enticed me to invest more into another project. So if we use that same tactic, we might be able to get some of the other investors a lot more bullish about the NFTs.
See, this is why we have to do cameras one of these days, because I've just been nodding, looking like a bobblehead to what you're saying.
Yeah. I know. I move my hands around. just here when I talk.
Right, guys. Let's maybe touch now the utilities and especially the trends. So what I've been scouting around is the auto-staking NFTs, especially. So basically token-related use case. What are you planning in regards to your NFTs, and then especially the utility? I mean, we can talk about the game-related utilities later. Let's now try to touch really the like staking, could be some VIP privilege. You were saying about highlighted APR. So Quinn, like, what are you planning with NFTs that should push the utility behind the whole collection?
For us, with regards to the PFP NFTs that we wish to create, we're going to start it like relatively simple, and as the collection is made and minted, the PFP NFT holders will be given access to their own specific rooms as part of the project for just NFT style talking, as an exclusive club inside the project. Utilities for the PFPs, we aren't going to be going with like the fancy stuff like staking, and that's more blockchain stuff. It'll be more along the lines of early access to later revisions of the game when we get into the beta phase. It'll be more updates, like more direct hands-on updates with our game dev, potentially abilities to get early access to, and maybe even a couple of free mints of our gaming NFTs. And from there, we'll gradually expand how those NFTs will work inside our ecosystem. We're not going out there to promise the world in regards to what you will be able to do with our NFTs, apart from collect them, enjoy them, trade them, all the all the usual stuff that you would find with a PFP collection. But to us, it's honesty, and it's what we can do for starters instead of what we can promise and then potentially fail to deliver down the line.
Great, thank you. I mean, it is a time for us to maybe talk on what we can expect from the NFTs on the Phoenix blockchain and what we will be able to do with them. So if I am either a project owner that is developing the game and I'm interested in to cooperate with the Phoenix blockchain, or just artist that's pushing the art, what can I do with the NFTs? What's the possibilities, and what utility can I find in the Phoenix and the whole ecosystem regards to NFTs, of course?
Yeah, I mean, anything that you've seen before, obviously you can do. You can do the gaming. You can do anything like that. We're working on some 3D stuff again, but as a blockchain, I mean, yeah, we're doing some projects of our own. Like Battle Ducks is one that we're doing. It's more of a kind of like a meme, silly fighting game. But yeah, and but as far as what anyone else can do that is building, the sky's the limit. We've got somebody who's doing like a I don't want to say university. It's like a way like teaching people how to be NFT artists, and you can use like if you have his NFT, you can view all the classes for free. Just lots of new stuff that I hadn't even heard of before. But yeah, just sky's the limit, man. we're here for Web3.
All right, and if anybody is in here listening and kind of intrigued into Phoenix, like how can I start? How can I start looking up to get these NFTs on the Phoenix blockchain? Like, shall they contact you, or like what's the story?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I'm just the coordinator. I'm not the tech guy, but you can contact me. You can hop in our. You can hop in our Telegram group. Yeah, they just have me do these because I like to hear myself talk. But no, yeah, you hop in our Telegram. We have a big team, right? You ask any question, it'll be answered like real quick. We get our senior dev is in there, our head dev is in there, our founder's in there. Yeah, and they will walk you through anything that you want to do. They'll show you how to do it.
Okay, awesome. So the same story for Cajun. Cajun, like what will be the utilities with the NFTs or of the hotkey?
Sure. So yeah, when we looked at this, we come from like a DeFi yield background, and creating DeFi yield is great, but there's a lot of conditions there that we need. And when it comes to having this sort of hybrid, legacy token / meme token, it's a great way to include NFTs into something like that. And of course, there can be that visual appeal, but also having that APY, having like a pool, a staking pool, having the ability for a project whereby you can give someone the opportunity to have that money up concept, that price appreciation benefit in that type of token, in that type of project. Not everyone has the ability to be able to purchase more, to keep investing more BNB to accumulate. So what I really like about the DeFi yield aspect of something and the staking is that people have the ability to be able to grow their bag. So these tokens are going to be worth X amount in a certain time, and the price has so much potential increase that it's a fantastic opportunity to accumulate. And then every day you can be accumulating. So for me, we really wanted to get that out there. And what we're going to be able to do with these NFTs that we release is to have that minting DApp that we were talking about. And what we're going to be able to do to split them up is to go from the common, rare, and epic, and legendary. And then based on that, it's going to be based on the type of APY that you'll get. So depending on which one the individual's got and they stake that APY is going to be that utility for them to be able to have that passive income. And then as we expand the NFTs and we keep growing from them, we give people more opportunity to purchase more for the artistic opportunity, for the fan base opportunity, but then also for that APY opportunity. So there's like different elements as to why somebody want to purchase them. But I think also including the APY overcomes that question. And I think we looked at it at the beginning. I think McGee mentioned it as, some people generally don't even purchase NFTs. They think, well, why would I want to purchase an NFT? It's only X amount. It's an interesting conversation. Everyone has different opinions on things. But this way, you're not just saying this is an NFT based on this character. It's created like this. Look at the artwork. It's also going to give them an opportunity to increase their yield on their bag. And so that then gives a new entry of a person into the NFTs that maybe wouldn't have an initial entry. So it opens up the spectrum. But yeah, being able to expand them and then still have that type of APY within there, I think gives the holder a reason to invest and hold, gives the investor a reason to hang around, and gives the investor a reason to be able to buy them too. Because if you're creating the NFTs and you're just relying on somebody to come in and purchase them on their pure artistic quality, then that's one thing that you've got there. That's the only thing you're looking at. But then if we can also include people that just want to buy it because all they want to do is increase how much they've got in their bag, and they just want to just stake and stake and stake, then that's a whole nother audience there. And then the more that we can sell the NFTs, the more that they can become successful, the more then we can then follow that trend of HBO and also include more, because that's the game. We don't want to create a load and then never create them again. We want to be adaptive, dynamic, and flexible. So as the air of the TV show happens, and as those characters become important, as some characters die and other characters become more influential, we can adapt at the same time. So yeah, staking utilities, APY.
Right. If you are talking about the art, especially, I know from myself like how hard it was to find the right artists, then really to get the copyrights done, but especially the whole process in regards to the getting from the sketches up to the full art. So if you are checking the whole process, like how are you guys? Let's say doing this process, and how are you sure that the NFTs are going to be quality art? So Quinn, like are you using some sort of external graphics artists, or what's the process behind the whole NFT creation?
Well, for NFT creation, it's very much like choosing the right person for our game as well in regards to in-game artistry. It's been a very long, meticulous search for exactly the kind of art style that we want to portray from the project perspective. We are going to be using freelancers, the same as with our in-game artistry. But what we did to go and to search for our artists to build these NFTs is the team sat down and they worked out in our own minds the kind of NFT that we would like to see made for this project, how it would portray the community, how it would convey the message of the project itself. And then we just started hunting through all of the freelance websites, hunted through Google, went through Instagram, all those places, looking for exactly the right person for us. And I think it's a challenge to get exactly what you want to see made, but it should be rewarding for the holder to see what they've been supporting in terms of us, our game, and our ecosystem development. It should be reflected in the artistry that we choose to make into NFTs. If that's understandable.
Yeah.
No
like,
pressure. We're just asking you a really easy question, like how do you qualify art?
Nah, sorry guys. No, look, it's to me like dead simple. If it looks like trash, it's trash. If it's got flair and it's got a message to deliver behind just the picture itself, then to me that's art. Sorry, I overcomplicated that.
Well, I maybe could add on, like from my perspective. Like I got two CDOs, and so those CDOs, like CDO is a chief design officer, basically guys I trust the most, that they are good in management, skillful, and they know what I'm looking for. So basically, we had a strict lineup. We've summed up like a document for all of the hired artists, and also before we hire them, we needed from them to make like a few sketches and check the whole ArtStation portfolio to be able to see if they fit our style. And with the documents, we pretty much drafted the style of ours. That's like fantasy, which colors, which like curves, and basically everything regarding to the sketches. And before we have the full art, there is like 4 review points in the draw and the whole crafting process, where the CDOs are commenting on the artist individually, and also the others can comment on. We got like 20 people who are commenting the art, and basically it is like a big hub of artists commenting what is good, what is wrong, and what may change. So this also works for the artist as a feedback, and this way we are able to push like the unified style of the NFTs. So it is kind of hard, but in the end, like yes, like you can maybe call like this is good looking, this is bad looking, but at first always one needs to set the style that should be unified and unique towards the brand, and then move on. So Kajim, like how you will pick the artist, and what will be the process behind the drawing and whole crafting process of those NFTs?
A fantastic conversation on this so far. I love this aspect of it. I love the stuff that we're just talking about here, and I like what we've been saying there about the if art looks like trash, and that got me thinking too. It is so subjective, right? I'm interested in art myself. Come from a design background, using the Adobe Street photography, into art school. So like, yeah, art is so subjective, and so many people see one thing as good and other things as bad. And so when it comes down to the NFT, you're kind of on that measurement of is something good or bad? Is there a good artist, a bad artist, and all this kind of thing? And other people have their own views on those. What I really like about what you said about like, if it looks like trash, it's rubbish. What we've been finding sometimes, especially with some of the stickers and other artworks we've been producing, is the more trash something looks, in some way it becomes cooler. It becomes quite we've been utilizing them because they look so bad. It kind of gives it that edge. So in the same way that when something's trash, it can then also become art. So it's just so subjective, right? And I think it comes down to style. If you choose that type of style, then you can get away with it. So I think it's about what direction you go down and how you try to pull it off. But with this type of project, with an NFT project, you can really push out and really look for the right type of art and artist that works for you. So as we've launched this project and the method that we've gone down with the communication, the AMAs, the foundation building, the large cost put into firming the project into a right place, we found ourselves not being able to have the expenses to be able to have a lump sum to be able to give to somebody to then get a lump sum of work back. So what we've been doing is discussing with people as to like how we can get a type of artist that works better for us, and not only in terms of a budget, but in terms of like flexibility. So I guess we're at a stage where we don't have work in a sense for me to say, is it good or bad? But again, that's subjective. But what we are at a stage of is to be able to find a type of artist that is ambitious enough to want to be able to work at the pace of the show. And I think that might be the key there as well, because we've got the contacts, we've got the previews from them, we've got the quotes, we've got the communication. We can get X amount of NFTs in X amount of days. We can do that transaction on the blockchain. But is that the best thing for the longevity and the success of the project? And so what we've done is we took a step back, and we've been in talks now with somebody just through an AMA. Actually, I was in an AMA, Brothers AMA, and I actually openly said something, what we're looking for. And from that, somebody came into the communication, and I had a couple of calls, and now we're moving in that direction. And I think next time I'm in AMAs, I'm definitely going to utilize it as looking for people to want to do work. Like, I know you've asked me that question, but I need to say this. And I think it's a great way to do it. So what we found is that if we can get somebody on board that follows the pace of the project, follows the pace of the TV show, then that type of art would be more efficient to what we're trying to do, as opposed to it possibly then being the best type of art. So I guess you take a sacrifice there, but I think with this type of project, we're not trying to make the best things that anyone's ever seen. We're not trying to make the worst, but what we certainly need to do is to make the most practical and useful ones for the type of project. And then that comes down to the artist being able to be adaptive. So we're looking for an individual or a team that can move at the pace of the show, that can create NFTs at a short time scale if needed, and to adapt to what narrative HBO are being given out. So we've gone down the route of not coming at it from an artistic point of view as this person, this team look like they've got the best type of NFTs, we're going to choose them. But we've gone down that route of which one works better for the project and us. And so we'll see at what point that measurement of whether those NFTs are good or not come, because that will come mainly from the audience, right? From the end user. But again, when you specify to them what it's used for and what the type of NFTs are used for, I think you can then get away with being able to convey to the investor what it is you're trying to do, to not get them confused as to why those NFTs are there. But just to like quickly jump back onto what I was saying, yeah, like sometimes, and we did it with a few stickers recently, we did like a meme competition, like the lame ones have become the cool ones, you know, like because it doesn't look right, because it wasn't cropped right, because it hasn't had that skill set to produce it, it in itself has become a cultural, like people like using those type of stickers now because it's funny. So that's always interesting how art itself can then become artistic, even though it wasn't meant to be like that originally, because it looks like trash.
It's not bad if it's bad in an interesting way.
Yeah, people kind of like it though. People like the bad, I've noticed. If you upload 10 images and one of them is kind of like bad, people would laugh and use it, even though it's funny, but that one becomes more notoriety. You know, people use it more and they post it more, and then it becomes, I guess it's like movies, right? Movies that are bad become cult classics, and then because they're a cult classic because of, you know, because they were bad, like the worst movie ever, was it The Room? I think that's voted the worst movie ever, The Room, in terms of its budget, and that's really funny.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, so you know, it can kind of work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's sort of the elephant in the room, or rather the ape in the room, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like what am I thinking right now is like there is even a space for like whole artistic NFTs and in the crypto space right now, guys. Because like for example, the NFTs we've made, like one NFT costs like 7K to be honest, and this is like one card with a 5 rarity, so 5 images cost around 7K. Well, we try to put it like professional, like, but still wondering if people in the crypto community are looking rather for the utility, or is there a place for art as well? Quinn, what do you think?
Yeah, can I reserve my reserve my ability to speak on this in a minute?
Once again, please.
I just need a minute. Sorry.
Sure. Okay. All right. So, Spas or Kajam, like you can add on.
Oh, yeah, it is sort of weird to see what comes out on top, right? Like, now, I mean, to name two, like, I mean, I don't think that the Bored Apes are like interesting at all, but I love those crypto punks. I think they're real fun. It's clean and stuff. I know people that hate them both, love them both, or the opposite. You know, it is. There's a lot of relative stuff going on here. A lot of these like more popular ones that I mean, it's popular to hate what's popular, I suppose. So there's also that.
Yeah, and so you were saying when you Alan about like if it's utility or art, and that's a great conversation to be having, I think, at this early stage. And I think a lot of the time some investors might be confused as to why they would be purchasing an NFT, and other art investors would be straight on it. So there's investors that are well versed on the financial benefits of them, and then you've got artists, investors that are just buying them because they like to hold them and they like to accumulate them, and it's what they like to do. But I think when it comes down to the utility or the art, it comes down to the project, right? The type of project and what the benefit is. So if it's beneficial for you to purchase that and hold it because it looks good, that would happen. But if it's beneficial in a utility sense, in terms of that the project's going to work out better for you financially, because in the end of the day, it is a money up concept, right? I know that there's people going to buy NFTs, and we're talking about marketplaces, so we're always talking about trading them. But I'm pretty sure that most people, when they're buying them, they're looking at buying an asset for price appreciation. They're looking to be able to have an ability to make more money, or to be able to spend their money in the space. So I think it comes down to the end user with what they decide. But I also like the idea of like where it goes, because when people are buying NFTs too, they're not sure about where it is or what is it or what the use. And I think as things develop, there will be a bigger push towards where those NFTs are, and if you can see them, and if they can be stored in a certain place, and that can be merged into how they're bought in the concept. I think that'll work. I've got a couple of ideas myself about what you could do with that type. I need a good React developer and a Web3 to be able to pull that off, but I've got a couple of prototypes, and I think the way that they'll emerge, and I talked to some social 3.0 websites too. They're layer ones too, just like McGee's, and like a lot of the time, when NFTs are going to be put out there to the masses, and they will be, when social medias become more bigger, I think the understanding of what they are would be different. But I would even say now, like, a lot of people still don't fully understand what it's a technology, right? In the end of the day, so what is it now to what it is in the next 10 years is probably going to be very different. So I think as a standpoint now, I would say people are looking at NFTs from my view, from the work I'm in, as to what they could do with them as like an asset, as a price appreciation, or some form of money up concept.
Also, gaming as a whole. I was talking to somebody whose little idea was like, say you buy, you're playing Grand Theft Auto, right? And you pay, $5 or whatever to buy like a Mustang, and then you go to play like Red Dead Redemption, and instead of having to buy stuff there, you can just transfer it, and your Mustang car becomes a literal Mustang that you can ride around. I think we're going to see some cool stuff like that in the future. Another thing I was talking about, I'll throw this back to you guys. I think it's only a matter of time before the Louvre or the Smithsonian or one of these big companies to sort of fundraise makes a one-to-one NFT mirror for their collection. I can see that happening. What do you guys think?
Which company was it you're saying there, McGee?
Oh no, I was the game thing or the art thing?
The last thing you just mentioned about the mirroring.
Oh no, that's just a little a thing I've been floating around in my head. I think it's only a matter of time. Like if a museum, like a famous museum says we're gonna make a one-to-one NFT for every single piece of art in our collection and just put it out there, I think that would be bananas. They would rake in all the money.
Yeah, I 100% think so on that.
And it would bring a lot of traffic to their website. It would make them seem real cool and cutting edge. It would help. I mean, the arts are always starving for money, so it would help them out with that. I think it would be super cool.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in the fact that they might end up making art collections like that. But I also believe in the next 10 years you might even see some of these middle to higher end artwork display museums. They might start purchasing, archiving, and even displaying NFTs in their own specific segments of their galleries. Especially the most popular ones. I think you will start seeing unique artworks that are digitized becoming maybe even part of the furniture in art galleries in the next 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, I think exactly as we're all saying here, and this falls into this project, and we've done like over 10 AMAs with this project now. In the conversation, you can now gauge where it's going to go. And one thing we've had is about HBO, and this is HBO's narrative, and we're taking it, we're putting it on the blockchain. People ask about that, what's right, what's wrong in this kind of conversation. But what I was saying, we were just talking then about the museums and other companies, is that look at the opportunity. Look at the opportunity for a multi-billion-dollar corporation like HBO. Look at the technology around us. People right now in this chat are developing layer ones. People are developing protocols across the blockchain. We're all investing. Look at the potential, and multi-dollar corporations like HBO are not adopting it. So why isn't HBO itself releasing this TV show and dropping a lot of NFTs on the main characters on the Ethereum blockchain, and allowing people to get hyped about it and to revenue something from the blockchain into their marketing budget and to push over into the space? Well, they're not doing it, and there's loads of other people not doing it too. So this space is just so untapped that the opportunity in which to be able to use this type of NFT and marketplace could become really, really wild if larger companies with massive marketing budgets start to come into it.
Well, to be honest, I think I've just got an idea. I'm thinking of the whole concept of the art being pushed, and why are people buying the Bored Apes? I think it stems from the scarcity and the feeling of being privileged, right? If there is a scarce source, people gonna always want to have at least the rich ones. So maybe it is not only about the art, but the whole feeling of being privileged. And if there is a hype around, I think it is more related really to a scarcity. Like if you are releasing 10 NFTs and 1,000, of course people gonna try to get at least one, right? So this is just my idea to add on. And regarding the companies, like yeah, like this is the same story. People are watching the TV shows, and if it is backed up by the whole company behind, I think there was a Coca-Cola releasing the first edition of the NFTs as well, and of course people gonna buy it. There could be no use case, but simply because there is a big audience watching that and trying to grab at least the one. And of course the price gonna be high because of the demand, right? And the whole scarcity, simply a lot of people trying to buy in.
Yeah, and I like that too, because I think it comes down to the bigger question about those apes too, is like, what creates the trend first? You're like, how do you do that? Because if you already had something that's pre-existing, that is already popular, and you add the utility on of NFTs, right? You know that they're going to work, and then you add the limit, the limitness of them, and you add that privilege too that you said. That's a lethal combination there, and that's how a lot of them have worked out, right? But how is it that you create that trend? How is it you create the ones that are become really popular, the ones that have gone into the main art scene and people are aware of, and you talk to the person in the street about NFTs, and they say, oh yeah, they sold for millions, and I've heard about these, and so everyone knows that these things are around. But yeah, what creates some to be more trendy than the others? What sparks that off? Because that's kind of what we're at now with this project, where we're talking about trends, and trends exist. There's the trends happening right now in the space of DeFi, where you can see in terms of the type of genre of project that's being launched, and that kind of crosses over and changes all the time. It changes like water, right? Like waves, it's always moving. And I suppose that's similar in the NFT space. I'm not that versed in the NFT space, but I can only imagine that the trends of visuals must also play out just the same as the blockchains do. So what creates those trends? Do they come in organically and naturally, and then people adopt them? Is there people out there pushing trends in and pre-predicting them? And it's kind of where we're at. We're seeing something coming, and we're trying to like surf alongside of it. But what's interesting there for me is that what starts that first? Like, at what point did people start buying those ape NFTs? At what point did that start to blow up? Is that just down to sheer money to push it out there, to create that exclusiveness and privilege, and that's what it was? Or is there is there an ingredient there that you can harness as a project? Like, why would anyone want to buy your work? Like how do you tick that hype button? How do you tick that box?
Yeah. Well, I think it stems
I
from.
think it's probably,
Yeah,
if
go
I
on,
had to
go
guess,
on.
it's probably a combination. Oh, sorry. No, I'm saying it's probably a combination. I know they did some crazy bananas investing into marketing um, in that specific project. But like you said, there's like that secret sauce also and luck. But it's like when you see one of those things and you see it, like you could probably freehand draw one. Like, I mean, it sticks in your brain a little bit.
Simple as well, I think, right? Simple works better.
Well, to be honest, I think it is a combination of a scarcity, being in a trend of something new, and also especially the opinion leaders, right? So personas in all the places in the show business, and if the Snoop Dogg purchases Bored Apes or Elon, then it goes up, right? Because these are opinion leaders, and people simply interject these ideas without any thinking. It is irrational thinking based on a trend, on a hype, and this is based on something new that is scarce, and people want to own at least the one. So if there is too much demand, of course the price is going to explode. Well, and maybe regarding to that, I put another question, and that is like, where do you guys the future of the NFTs? Like, what do you think the NFTs could be like 3, 5 years? Like, do you think there will be adoption? And if yes, like where and like how? Like, what's your ideas, Quinn?
In regards to the next 3 to 5 years, I think we're pretty on track to see a lot of gaming adoption, especially in regards to NFTs being used to transfer between projects and uh, mainly it's yeah. Can I chime in later? It's difficult for me to
Yeah,
really
sure,
think.
sure, guys. Any ideas? Just go on.
Yeah, no, I totally. I think you're going to see more mainstream level stuff, right? There, you might see a concert venue that says, "Oh, we're not gonna, don't bother with your email and all this stuff. Just, just put your address and we'll give you your ticket on the blockchain." Some people have said that there's cities that could save, bazillions of dollars or whatever by having deeds and titles be on blockchain. As far as NFTs go, I think you're going to see your Activisions and your Ubisofts using it more. It's just a better way to do it. Plus, then it sort of solves the question like of well, when you download a digital game, you can't really resell it. Well, now you can. It's so there's I think you're going to see more of the same, but like done better and with a lot more cash behind it and a lot bigger names, and it just kind of um it it went through like the sort of last year, sort of the wild west of DeFi, and I think you're going to see sort of like a weird hybrid of centralized DeFi in this regard. Bigger companies doing stuff, and yeah, I think it's going to just slowly ease into the mainstream.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I love this question. It's an awesome question. Where would it be in 5-10 years? It's such a long time in crypto, right? Things will change significantly in those time periods, and like in NFTs, it is a technology. It's just like a DAO. These things are abstract, but they're technologies essentially, and already you can see people are putting them into this large scale staking. Already NFTs are going into these types of contracts, and people are talking about them becoming mortgages in the past and in the future, sorry, and purchasing things through NFTs and the way that you buy a house and vehicles and stuff. So I can only imagine that once a little bit like the music industry, right? When you had Spotify and you were in the early 2000s, you would seem strange for somebody to say, well, I pay for my music per month, but you don't own anything because we've all got cassettes in our hands. We've got these hi-fi machines. We can feel something physical. So it doesn't make any sense as to how you would have a digital music subscription. It doesn't really work. But then all of a sudden you've got all these phones, and everyone's got phones in their pockets, and they can use apps, and then you've got all these mediums in which you can then have digital music. So then all of a sudden the subscription works, and there you go, move on to the next stage of the technology. So I think once NFTs become more immersed into the type of technology that people have got around them, easier than having to access Web3 and to go into these formats at the moment, they'll branch off. And I think we could be surprised wherever we are right now in our ages to times that by 5 to 10 years and look back to think what an NFT was in 2022 to what an NFT is in 2030. So that always excites me to what it could be. But of course, right now it is image based, and it is based on that type and is expanding. But yeah, I'm pretty on the point. I would feel that this type of technology, we could be surprised when we look back at to how it's evolved.
I hope they use it in medical billing. I'm a toxicologist in real life, my day job, and oh my God, we have to keep physical copies of every requisition for like 2 to 5 years, and up the stairs and down the stairs and into the back and out of the back. Oh my gosh, I'm sick of it. So I hope medical billing goes the NFT route as well. It'll save my back and shoulders from going out on me.
All right, guys, we are talking almost 75 minutes. I think I need to sort something in short. So let's leave the GameFi and the whole GameFi space for the next podcast. So let's finish up the NFTs there. And yeah, like I think it was intriguing discussion on the NFTs. And as you can see, guys, there is a lot of space that the NFTs could develop into, and also by the project owners, we can use the NFTs smart way. And really, there is a whole discussion, and also I've been reading a lot of through like the articles on the NFTs that these are the future in the GameFi space. So we will be talking on the GameFi space, I think by the next week in the next podcast. And yeah, like Spas, Kjm, and Quinn, I want to thank you for joining us today. And I want to leave you the words for saying goodbye and your ideas to add on before we will end the recording.
I'd just like to say thanks. Thanks for having myself, and thanks for trying to host these sorts of podcasts to discuss all things regarding topics of the week. I think it's quite informative for people to see different perspectives from a project on how they want to do something of that day and what they think of the trends of now and potentially the midterm future is. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as always for having us on. That I always have a good time here, learn a little bit, have a few laughs. I'm loving it. Thank you so much.
Kjm,
Yeah.
you're
Sorry guys,
yeah.
I got kicked out there. Classic Telegram move. You were talking and then it just goes off and your screen's blank. But yeah, it's been great. I mean, I love the communication as a project, and as a developer myself, we always push most of our marketing into conversation, doing AMA tours. We think the best way to convey what you're up to is through the old fashioned, given to us ability to be able to convey, through voice, through conversation. And that's the best way. You get tone. I'm usually on video too when I'm doing the AMA. So there's a great way to have a communication. And the fact that it's recorded, we can then have that legacy to it. We can present it to other people to later watch it. And the dynamic of having other people, I think, Ellen, That's really important too. And with Quinn and McGee, like being able to listen to other people speak and move between what the conversation is, I think that's missing. You don't really see that right now across AMAs, you know. So definitely love this concept and keep it up, bro.
Yeah. So again, guys, thank you for joining us today on the podcast. I'm very sorry, but I need to go. Suddenly something got into my way. So stay in touch. We will be announcing tomorrow another event for the community. And by next week, we will continue with the GameFi and the trends. Also, I wanted to have two more guests, but sadly they couldn't make it. So maybe by next week we will see new faces, and again we will talk on discussions around the space with the community, and that's on the first place. So guys, enjoy the weekend, and thank you for joining us today and listening. Goodbye.